Welcome to the Misquamicut Beach Podcast, a podcast spotlighting the businesses, newsmakers, events, and memories of Rhode Island's historic Misquamicut Beach.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Misquamicut Beach Podcast. This episode is going to be a little bit different. I hope you guys are enjoying the warmer weather. I am. Got to go down to the beach this morning. It was great. As you can hear, kids are playing outside, and just a wonderful, wonderful time. This morning was the annual meeting for the Misquamicut Business Association, and it was a great breakfast and a great event at the Windjammer. Charles Treffis, the president of the MBA, oversaw the meeting, and we had some speeches from Caswell Cooke, the Executive Director of the MBA, Governor Gina Raimondo, and Lieutenant Governor Dan McKee, and they spoke about a whole list of topics, a lot of great stuff that's happening down by the beach. So without further ado, we're going to get to that. We're going to bring you those three speeches in their entirety on this episode, and the entire video of the meeting, including the speeches, and Charles Treffis's remarks and Rebecca Green's remarks and all of that, the whole question and answer portion, that is going to be up on our YouTube page, Misquamicut Beach, the Misquamicut Beach YouTube page, and we're going to share that as well on Facebook and all of that stuff. And one thing I just want to point out, as beach season is here, if you are looking for a state pass, if you're looking for a pass to the beach, a season pass, check out the website. Because you can order the state beach parking lot passes on the website, and it'll really help cut down on traffic. And you'll hear the governor speak more about that during this episode. So again, thank you very much for listening. And this is Caswell Cooke, Governor Gina Raimondo, and the Lieutenant Governor Dan McKee.
Good morning, everybody, and thanks for being here. First of all, can we give Charles and Amy a round of applause for the meal and the hosting? I also want to recognize there's a lot of elected officials in the room. First of all, the Governor of Rhode Island is here, and the Lieutenant Governor of Rhode Island. We have any number of town councilors. We have Councilor Aiello, Councilor Giorno, Councilor McEwen. Am I missing any other Councilor Siafi, Councilor Ahern? We have, I'm a councilor, that's true. And we have the town manager, Mark Rooney. We have the moderator of the fire district, Michelle Baca. We have the police chief. Who am I missing? We got to give them all a nice, and Christine Cook, my wife, who's on the school committee, and Rebecca Green, who just spoke, is also on the school committee. Jeez, I'm in trouble now, right? So before we get to the remarks that you're here for, the governor and lieutenant governor, I know the governor is on a tight schedule. I just wanted to first of all, I wanted to take a moment to acknowledge a couple of people that aren't with us. We lost two people that were huge supporters of Misquamicut Beach in the past couple of weeks. Tragically, Justin Harris, who a great person. He played a lot of music down here. He's the one that got us involved with a lot of radio stations, especially with the Wolf. We've had a relationship with Justin for I don't know how many years, and it was a shock that we lost him. And Don Daggett, whose funeral is this morning, who was the owner of Sandy's Lighthouse. So we would just take a moment of silence for them. It's hard to transition, but I wanted to give extra special thanks to a few sponsors that really go above and beyond. I mean, everybody in this room contributes to our organization somehow, but Coca-Cola, the Pleasant View, Wesley Hospital, WBLQ, and the Wolf are just really key sponsors of this association. If we could give them a round of applause for their years of support. And I already said it, but thank you to the Windjammer. Wanted to just tell you a couple things we got out there. This is, it's been quite a few years now, but we have this map that's out. We've got 20,000 copies, and JJ McDade, where are you, JJ? Just stand up. JJ's the guy that will deliver them to you, so look for him. Don't send him away when he comes to your establishment. And we want to thank the state of Rhode Island because the State Beach Pavilion has allowed us to put 2 of these huge versions of the map right up on the State Beach Pavilion, which just shows some great cooperation with the state. This is the cover of our guide that'll be going out in about a week. A great summer fulfillment piece when people come here. We also want to tell you about our podcast, and since we have the governor and lieutenant governor here, maybe sometime during the year you guys will be a guest on the podcast, which is done by Ben Barber, who's in the back of the room filming us today. Wave, Ben. Ben does the podcast, which you can get on iTunes. We're all over the place. Streaming everywhere. We have our drive-in across the street. As you see, tons of cars show up there. Everyone thinks there's one drive-in in Rhode Island, in the northern part of the state, but there are 2 drive-ins in Rhode Island, and Misquamicut Beach is one of them. And I want to thank South County Tourism Council. For years, when we did these projection screens, we set up the camera in the back of my Jeep. And it was, we didn't have a proper place to do this. And so now that we're 7 years into the drive-in, I want to thank Louise and the folks from South County Tourism Council for actually buying us a projection shed. Thank you, Louise. Last year we had this Misquapoly game. We printed, how many, Tim, did we print? 1,500? How many Misquapolies?
Over 1,000.
Over 1,000, and they're all gone. So if you own one, that's a collector's item now. So thank you, Tim, for that great idea of Misquamicut Monopoly. Springfest was a huge success this year, another partnership with the state of Rhode Island. We brought 15,000 people down here. The Lieutenant Governor has come many times to our festivals, introduced people on stage, and this spring was the same thing. It just was great, and it's 9 years that we've been doing these festivals. And at Fall Fest, we're bringing, if anybody was a fan of the Dukes of Hazzard, Tom Wopat, Luke Duke is coming, so Dan, you can come introduce him. We've got a lot of publicity throughout the state with the road show, especially with Channel 10. Actually, Lieutenant Governor and I were on promoting one of our events a few months ago, and they're just frequently down here promoting Misquamicut Beach. We also have a great relationship with these 2 baseball teams. So if you go to a Tigers game, you're going to see Misquamicut all over the place in our commercial running. So there's a lot of trade partnerships we have with people. Our Guy Fawkes Bonfire Night, been doing for 21 years, and this year we are moving the event here to the Windjammer. So if it's not nice out, we can just be on this stage right behind us. We also are the people that pick up the trash all up and down the street. And here's 2 of our folks that work here for us. And where's Sherry? Sherry's somewhere. Stand up, Sherry. She's the person that picks up all the trash at this beach. Up and down the street, making it pretty. Liz, you did a good job too. But that was just one day. We put out the beautiful planters. We paint all the curbing to make things look nice. That's all the MBA. I know a lot of people think it's someone else or magic elves that do it, but it's the Misquamicut Business Association. We also started a campaign, and this is where I think where the state comes in and where we really started working with the state last year. We had a trash problem at the beach. It was all over the place. There was just trash everywhere. And so what we did is we identified the problem. We definitely raised awareness through media and social media. Some local residents formed the Misquamicut Waste Warriors. The Lieutenant Governor brought town, state, and business leaders to one table last summer, and Senator Algier found funding, and we came up with a short-term solution that worked. It was a little public-private partnership between the town, the state, and the MBA. We had 2 trash receptacles. We monitored them with our staff, and it worked. And it was such a success that we got together with DEM and the state and the MBA and came up with this logo to respect the beach, Rhode Island's largest fun-sized beach. That was courtesy of Janet Coit. And the governor and the DEM came up with solutions this year. The state beach got painted. Maintenance is happening. At every exit to every way off the state beach, there are now trash receptacles after 20 years. And the town of Westerly was sort of ahead of all the game and had these big belly solar trash compactors. And so the town of Westerly, the town manager, Mark Rooney, has loaned 2 of those big bellies to the state for them to monitor this year and use and see if it's successful. So another way that the town and the state is working together. So it's really important that we have that relationship. And I know there's some folks from DEM that are over here, and Jen Ogren's one of them. And I know Director Coit sent her regards today, and she said, you do a good job filling in for her. But thank you, Jen, and thank you to the staff of DEM. Let's give them a round of applause, too. And the final thing I'll say, so we can get right to the governor's remarks, is that our next big project, one that we need help on, and I've spoken to the Lieutenant Governor about it, and we'll bring it up to the Governor as well, and we'll show you guys after the meeting if we can, or on another trip. We've got a huge stretch of beach that's the State Beach Park. In fact, let me show you a better view. So there's your State Beach parking lot, and on this side is where Patty's is, and this side is where Two Little Fish is. So all your cottages and hotels are at this end of the beach. Your amusements and stuff are at that end of the beach. All these people walk down, and then it gets dark, and there's no way to walk back. There's no lighting anywhere in the State Beach parking lot. There's about 3 or 4 lights along Atlantic Avenue. So our proposal is for an eco trail that would have solar lighting, allow people to bike and walk safely and connect one end of the beach to the other, because right now there's not even sidewalks, and you have a half-a-mile stretch. The property is owned by DEM. We talked to folks from DEM before who said if CRMC thinks it's a good idea, we could move forward. The town of Westerly spent a few $1,000s actually last week and got a set of plans, which you see along the back wall. And so our appeal now is, this is a great way for ecotourism. We would love to build a tower like you see up by Narragansett so people could see the panoramic view from right across from the State Beach. It'll keep people in town longer, and it'll be good for safety, for biking, for hiking. So we would love it if the state of Rhode Island could give us any help in the next round of funding, grants, whatever you can send our way. This would be something we would love to have you help us with. So with that, as we're moving along fast, we're gonna go right to the governor. But Tim, I'm gonna have you come up and introduce her real quick. Give the 60-second intro.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 2019 annual meeting. This is your chance to see the progress that your business association has made in improving the beach. We would like to thank Charles, Amy, and Windjammer for hosting us. And of course, I would like to introduce the Governor of Rhode Island, who is on a tight schedule today, but she is anxious to make some remarks. And so let's give her a warm welcome.
Good morning. So it seems like you guys are all ready. We just have to pray for good weather this summer. That's going to have to be the key. Thank you, Tim. I want to thank Tim for being awesome in general. You contribute to the MBA. You have a great business. He served on my plastics task force, and it looks like we're going to be successful in passing a plastic bag ban. So thank you for your help and for your leadership. I appreciate that. Janet Coit can't be here this morning. She sent me this text early this morning, just so you have a sense of her commitment. She said, Gov, I can't be there tomorrow. I was down at Napatree until almost midnight last night counting mating horseshoe crabs. So that is a hard-working DEM director. She got home at 1 a.m, but she was doing her job down at Napatree. I do have to say thank you to the DEM staff who is here, most especially Jen. These guys have worked their tails off to make sure that we're going to be ready for the summer. You know, Caswell just commented on the painting and the maintenance. That's them. That's all them. They're working hard. Thank you, Jen, and thank you to your team. And of course, I want to thank and recognize Caswell for your leadership. You know, I think you said the key word in your comments, which is partnership. And as to that new project, we would love to partner with you on that as well. Yeah, absolutely. That is the key. And in fact, I will take that back to Janet and to the team, and we'll see what might be possible. A year or two, I came to talk to the MBA, and it was a challenging discussion, right? Let's be honest. You weren't happy with DEM, weren't happy with the trash situation, weren't happy with parking, etc. And so we listened. We took it seriously. We heard from you, and we stepped forward to work with you in partnership to provide some solutions. And so today I'm here to say I'm glad we did that. I want to thank you for your partnership. Like, the best things happen when the private sector and the public sector and the community, everybody comes together and says, okay, we have a problem. Let's get to work. Let's find a solution. And that's what we've done, and I'm here to say that's what we will continue to do. Because Westerly and Misquamicut matters. It's our biggest, busiest beach. I know a lot of you make your living right out there, and we're going to do everything we can to help you be successful and have thriving businesses and encourage you to continue partnering with us. This year, I want you to know, as Caswell just mentioned, we've made some changes. So we've placed dumpsters at the beach entrances. Sounds simple. It's going to make a difference. It'll improve the experience. We at DEM have hired 4 additional employees to make sure that we'll have better customer service and better staff at Misquamicut. Like I said, it's the busiest Rhode Island beach. And we've enhanced our outreach. More listening, more flyers, more being down here and taking your feedback. In addition, as Caswell mentioned, at your beach, and actually at all of the beaches, we stepped up our efforts around maintenance so that for opening day and Memorial Day, hopefully you saw that. A fresh coat of paint, fixing the plumbing, the little things. And we actually have a whole new system this summer for how we're going to keep the bathrooms clean and cleaner and keep the pavilions clean and cleaner. So again, this isn't rocket science. This is dumpsters and clean bathrooms and a coat of paint. But it makes a difference. It makes a difference. Anybody who runs a restaurant or a small business, it makes a difference. So we've heard you, and we're really leaning into it to make sure that we have the best, a fantastic summer, which will be better for your businesses and your community. A couple of other things. I know Janet would want me to mention, so I want to remind everybody here, and if you could spread the word, seasons passes are available to purchase online. So first time ever, you can go online. I've actually done it. My family's done it. It's a pretty easy experience. Go online. You can buy your seasons pass. It comes to you in the mail. We're hoping to just cut down on the lines at the beach. So, get the word out about that. It's the first time we've tried it. It seems to be going well. Second thing is, we're just expanding the amenities that DEM is going to be providing at the beaches. A little bit, better food options with the concession, renting boogie boards, renting paddle boards, renting chairs and umbrellas. Really, making an effort to just, as I said, make it a better beach experience. So you're going to see all that this summer. Let us know what you think. Let us know if it works. Let us know if we should do it differently, more, less, different, etc. And she wants me to say, Salty's Burgers and Seafood has opened a full-scale gift shop at Misquamicut. So that seems like it would be a great thing too. Also at Scarborough. So here's my bottom line. I want to thank you all. I want to thank your town manager. I love these meetings, by the way. You have the town manager, school committee, local entrepreneurs, chief of police. Everybody's here chipping in to try to do the right thing. I feel that we've made huge progress since the last time I came to the MBA, and you have my commitment to just continue to work in partnership, do a little bit more every year, so we can continue to get better. And really, that's all I could ask from you. Stay at the table. It's okay to be cranky, but it's better to stay at the table and be part of the solution. So we need actionable guidance. Now everyone's pointing at Caswell. He's not always cranky. It's okay to be cranky, but you need to step up and say, this is what we think the solution would be. Could you help us get there? And if you do that, the answer from the state will be yes. We're going to do our part and help you get there. So So thank you for having me. Well, I'm happy to answer a few questions. And also, the Lieutenant Governor is going to stick around and he can continue to answer questions. Before I do that, I want to put a plug in for the Westerly Higher Education Center. I noticed that this was on the tables. We started this a couple of years ago, and like a lot of new ventures, we weren't completely sure how it would work. But here's what I do know. If we're going to make sure that every Rhode Islander at every age has a chance to get a good job, which is what my goal is, then we have to make sure that everybody can get job skills and job training to get those jobs. Now, for some people, that's a 4-year college degree, and we're trying to make it easier and cheaper to do that. But for other people, it won't be. It'll be an apprenticeship. It'll be a credential program. It'll be a year or two at CCRI. And I am 100% committed to make sure every Rhode Islander at every age, every income, can get good job skills to get a good job. And that's where this comes in. So the Westerly Higher Education Center, it used to be a brownfields plot of land. It was a contaminated plot of land near the train station. And once again, we all pulled together. DEM, CCRI, the state, the Royce family, the town of Westerly, federal government came together. Today, that Westerly Higher Ed Center trains over 1,000 people a year, and they're all getting good jobs. They're all getting good jobs. And in the first year alone, 534 people got a job at Electric Boat. Good jobs, with benefits, at a good company, with a chance to advance. So why am I telling you this? Because this is at your table. I didn't put it there, but I saw it, so I'm doing the commercial. If you have a friend or a family member or a neighbor or somebody who says, I need a job, I'm stuck in a dead-end job, I'm not making enough money, my kid dropped out of college because he can't afford this, has too many student loans, go to the Westerly Higher Education Center, because we're making it as easy for people as possible. Night classes, weekend classes, and here's the magic of it. It's completely partnered with businesses. That's why we have such a great track record, and almost everybody coming out of there is going right to a job. So check it out if you haven't, because again, it's all about digging in and making every family a little bit stronger, and this plays a big role. So, thank you. Question? Good morning.
Thank you very much for coming down. I work with Caswell and others on the town council. And two big issues in Misquamicut and Westerly, parking. And when we first got on council, we asked whether Park USA would be addressed in terms of the lease for the parking at the State Beach and the way that they park cars in and out. And I'm hoping you can take a look at that. We were told by the town manager that that lease is not up for renegotiation until next year. But we would hope to have the technology weigh in so that you could have an easy pass, maybe with an arm, or reconfigure it, because the stall at that gateway affects all the way back to Route 78. So I'm hoping next year, when you come down, given your willingness to address these things year by year, that could have been renegotiated so that we can take advantage of technology and move that along. Very quickly, second.
Because the traffic backs up all along, Yes. Okay, I will look into that. It's an excellent suggestion.
And the second big issue down here is trash. And as we know, it's a national, international issue. And we were told last night by State Senator Conley, who also happens to be our solicitor, that the conversation has been started looking into incineration. Now, I know that's not ideal when it comes to the environment, but the landfill is almost full, and I would just urge conversation to continue, because I think we have to be more progressive in terms of how we deal with that issue. So I'm hoping that we can at least move that conversation on. Thank you.
Okay, good, thank you. We have a relatively new director of the landfill, resource recovery, and It isn't, almost full. We have time, which is the good news. However, you're exactly right. We don't have forever, and it's an issue that everyone's grappling with. But we have he's excellent, he's on it, and we're thinking a lot of different options. Yes? Thank you, Jen. So did everyone basically hear that? Okay. Yes, sir.
Jeff Gardner, Washington Oysters, and I'm clear to make this little announcement. Thank you to the state, thank you DEM, thank you our town. It looks like next winter we're going to be dredging Winnapock Pond again, and the sand that they're taking is supposedly going to be going to the state beach.
Great.
So we might have a larger beach coming up next year from now.
Awesome. Thank you.
It's in the plans, and supposedly as of the 11th of this month, it's moving forward.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Did you have his hand up? No. Okay, well, I know my kids are like ready to go to the beach, so hopefully everybody else is, and we're going to have a fantastic, safe, and very busy summer. And my door is always open. We have a great collaboration, and we will continue to work together with you guys. So thank you for having me.
How about one more round of applause for the governor? Thank you for coming. It's true about government, and it's true about being grumpy. I was grumpy about the trash last summer. Most of you who know me know that I was grumpy. So when we had this meeting that the lieutenant governor, who's going to speak next, brought together, it was at the town manager's office with Senator Algier and several staff from the DEM and Janet Coit, and I was really grumpy. And I might have said some things that weren't nice, and so the lieutenant governor looked at me and said, "Are you finished now?" And I said, "Yes, sir." And he proceeded to make, these things come to the attention of the governor, and things got done. It's not often that you have a true friend that's a politician that's looking out for you and sort of restores your faith in government a little bit. And I would say that Dan McKee is that person for me and for my family. He's a friend. He's a person that we met because a few years ago we sent him an invitation to come to something for the NBA, and he showed up. And he kept showing up. And he's a familiar face to us in Misquamicut, and I call him Lieutenant Dan because, I like Forrest Gump, so it's not a disrespectful thing. He's the Lieutenant Governor Dan McKee, Lieutenant Dan, it makes sense. But he's been here many, many times. He's come to our festivals. He's come to our Tunes on the Dunes that the town runs. He's been to our luau's. He's helped individual businesses who have had issues getting things through the state or just needing to have a roadmap of how to solve a problem. So without further ado, I'll let him come and say a few words. But please give a warm welcome to Rhode Island's Lieutenant Governor Dan McKee.
Thank you. Thanks, Caswell, and thank you, Governor, for getting really involved and digging in down here at Westerly. They really appreciate it, and I do as well. And I've been very fortunate with the Governor to have access to all the department heads in the state of Rhode Island, and I think that what Caswell was just talking about with bringing Janet together with the local community and the town manager was just part of that. We don't have the Governor's support. Those doors don't open for a lieutenant governor, so I appreciate the Governor's activity there. And yes, I have been down here quite a bit, and I do have pieces of Westerly spattered around all over the world, and in my office with Kevin gave me a nice piece of driftwood that says Misquamicut Beach right on it, and that's prominently displayed in my office. And one of the things that you'll see if you ever come to room 116 is that we have 39 shields represented each and every community in the state of Rhode Island, and Westerly is right there with all the other 38, because I say that every community really matters. The people who live in those communities matter, and the communities that make up those communities in the state of Rhode Island really do matter. And today we're here at the Misquamicut Beach Association. That's a community inside of Westerly that really does matter, and it matters to me. I think that some of you had heard that I was on a trip to Taiwan and China and to Hong Kong recently. It got kind of a little bit of news, but the suggestion was that I wasn't really making that public. But I can tell you that when I was in Taiyo, just outside of Hong Kong, I had a T-shirt on for the Purple Ape, and I was actually posting up for everybody to see in the world that Westerly is on the map. And we really think it's important. So yes, we think that Westerly is important, and I appreciate all the invitations that I've had down here. Whether I was scooping the oysters on my hands and knees a year ago or so with the Watch Hill Oyster Farm, and or whether I'm touring downtown around the local radio station. I think it's really important that we get the word out that Rhode Island is a great place to live, and Westerly is a big part of that. I've gone on a number of tours, different business tours, because in our office we get to really focus on the small businesses in the state and understanding that small businesses are really important to the state of Rhode Island. So I invite anybody that's in business that has ideas that are important to bring them forward. I'll be spending a little more time in Westerly this morning. We're in the middle of a used auto dealer tour, 39. We kind of just pick them out of the hat, and we go and visit the auto dealers. This is on the top of visiting with manufacturers, 39 different manufacturers. We've been to 39 cups of coffee with diners, and we've been to farms throughout the state of Rhode Island. So we really want to get out and see and talk to the local business community. And every time that I do go on a tour, we find certain areas. People list things. Right now we're with the auto sales dealers, and we think that we can have a smoother transition with the DMV. With people who are selling cars and bringing in a substantial amount of sales tax for the state of Rhode Island. I don't think that we really understand how important our businesses are in terms of how we support the state's business. And the auto sales dealers are no different than the businesses that are here on the beach here in Westerly, or the manufacturers around the state of Rhode Island. So I would just encourage you to stay in touch with our office. Please do that, and keep the invitations coming. We'll be down here Westerly more than our fair share. I was telling Caswell earlier that we've got on one of the things on the trips we're bringing potentially some business people in from China because we want them to know about Rhode Island. We want to know anybody who's willing to invest in Rhode Island, or bring their business, or bring their tourism, or bring their the dollars. We want to make sure that it happens in Rhode Island. So we'll make sure that we bring, as we make our contacts, whether it's businesses in the state or around the country, which I chaired the National Lieutenant Governors Association 2 years back, and we talk about Rhode Island, or whether it's international. And I'll just leave this one last program that we're ready to launch. which I think is really important, is that we have such a diverse state. We have such a combination of different people who come from different areas or origins or from different areas of the world. And what we're going to do is we're going to actually create these economic ambassadors. We're going to have these honorary economic ambassadors, and we're identifying them in our office. So anybody that lives here in Wesley or lives in the state of Rhode Island who have roots in other parts of the world that actually visit those parts of the world, we want to arm them with, to be ambassadors for the state of Rhode Island, and so that we cultivate both activity that that business moves, from Rhode Island to other parts of the country or other parts of the world, but also we want to have the reverse happen. I can just tell you one story, and I know I'll have somebody. When I was in Hong Kong, we met with the finance secretary of Hong Kong. He managed a $91 billion budget, a little more than we manage in our towns as mayors or managers, right, Mark? And he's in the process of about a $90 billion economic development project. But anyways, when we had dinner at his house, he brought some oysters out to the table, and he says, I know, now there's a connection here because the two business owners, it's like the pilot you have the pilot for the trash down here, right? Well, the two business owners that hosted us are from Rhode Island, but they had roots in Hong Kong. And so one of them had a family member that they actually double dated as they were dating their wives. And then now this guy is the finance secretary for Hong Kong. But when we were at the dinner, he leaned into me and says, I know you've got oysters, in Rhode Island. And I said, yeah, we do. And he says, well, we'd love to open up that market into Hong Kong. So we're going to really kind of find out whether that's an option or not, because that's one of our industries and one of the farms that I actually visited when we were touring the farm. So anything that possibly could move our economy forward and help our per capita income increase, we want to hear about it in our office. And please continue to let us know how we can possibly be of any help to make the state of Rhode Island this place that we want to live, our schools being great, our communities being safe, and our economy being able to support the families that live in our state. So thank you so much for having me here today, and looking forward to coming back. Thanks. Thanks, Kevin.
Don't go anywhere. All right. It's true. This guy wears his Purple Ape T-shirt all over the world. It's crazy. So, Tom from Purple Ape, come up here, Tom. Get in the photo. Tom's got a Misquamicut shirt you give to.
Yes, and I also have one of the Misquapolis. So I have so I hold on to that. Maybe 50 years from now, that's worth at least more than I paid for it when I was here last year. Yes. Thank you. Yes, and we did wear that T-shirt.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Keep on going. Okay.
There you go.
A new one. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And I forgot to give one to the governor, but I did catch her before she ran out, so she got one too. It's a smaller one that he's got.
For more information on the events and businesses in Misquamicut Beach, make sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and at Misquamicut.org.